Hi, welcome to the Golden Hour, a content series from us here at the Horizon League. I'm Rachel White here with
Kelsie, Gory, Harkey.
And Kelsie is the Director of Athletics at Cleveland State, where we are today. So let's just start with that, your position, kind of how you got to this role at Cleveland State.
Sure. So I have been at Cleveland State for almost 6 years, and I have been fortunate to serve as the athletic director for about a year and a half. Prior to that, I was our deputy AD for student athlete experience. So I spent a lot of my time focused on what does it feel like to be a student athlete at Cleveland State. How do you interact with your academics, with your coaches, and then what are the support services that wrap around you? So I was really fortunate to be in that position, got to really know our student athletes, coaches, and staff. And then when our previous athletic director moved on to another position, was very fortunate and honored to be named interim, and then shortly thereafter have that interim tag drop.
It's very exciting. We'll start with kind of a fun one. What do you love most about your job?
I love getting to know the student athletes, and I love the ability that you have in this role, but in all of college athletics, to positively impact their lives in different and unique ways, right? We get to see student athletes at their best. We get to see them doing what they love. We get to see them managing adversity and managing challenges. And so I've enjoyed being able to build those relationships. And then when there have been challenges or times where the student athlete might need a little bit more support, just being able to rely on that relationship to help them find the support that they need. To get them to a resource who maybe has the answer to their question, and then seeing them succeed. Again, whether that's in their sport, on the field, in the court, or in the pool, or it's when they walk across the graduation stage. We've been really fortunate to have several student athletes serve as valedictorians for the last couple of years. And so to be up here, we're in the 5th floor of the Wolstein Center right now, and so this is where we host graduation reception before with the platform party. And so to be up here with those valedictorian student athletes, get to know their families, that's where you feel like I've really had I've made an impact, and maybe while it's small for that individual, it's an impact.
For sure. Talked about kind of your time here at Cleveland State. Talk a little bit about how you kind of got into athletics administration and where you were at before you landed at CSU.
Yeah, so I went to school at Ohio State, just a couple hours south of here, and I was really fortunate to begin working in the athletic department. I had no idea what a profession in college athletics was. I just really loved the football team, and I thought it would be really cool to be a part of game day. And so I started in their fan experience and then moved into event management and really found that I loved it. I loved the ability to be a part of game day, right? Game day is just so magical, and there's so much excitement and the emotion that comes out. And so I got to be a part of that, and then graduated and went to the NCAA and was in their postgraduate internship program, which I really credit with kind of the next step in my career of having a broader understanding of what college athletics as a profession is, and the importance of our roles in administration. Again, as we think about how do we set up systems and structures and support resources in place so our student athletes can graduate, can excel academically, athletically, and really find what they're passionate about while they're here in college. And so that gave me a broader appreciation and understanding. So I was there for a year in that internship program, and then I went to Johns Hopkins, which is in Baltimore, so on the East Coast. It's a really unique institution, Division III, for everything except men's and women's lacrosse, which is a Division I program. And their men's lacrosse program in particular, but both men's and women's lacrosse is very storied, right? They've won, their men's team has won many national championships. And so to be able to see and experience lacrosse in particular, but those sports at a different level, I really enjoyed, and then fortunate to be here.
That's awesome. What advice would you give maybe young women particularly that are interested in learning more, possibly getting into this field as a career?
I think The biggest thing, as I've reflected, that has served me well in my time in college athletics is taking advantage of opportunity that's been put in front of you. As I shared my journey just then, I think about there were a lot of small opportunities where I just leaned into it. And I said, yeah, we'll try it out, right? And that seemed to often lead into something else. Whereas if I didn't do that, right, or if I chose, hey, you know what, that's not something that really pertains to what I'm doing, then I don't think it would have helped me progress. So like one thing that really stands out in my mind was when I was at the NCAA, they were asking for support with their Emerging Leaders Seminar, right, which is a wonderful program. We try and send our student athletes every year to go to that. And so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll help. My background at that point had been all in event management. I was in championships. But that was my really first taste into kind of student athlete development programming and how do you think about, right, leadership education. And so then when I was interviewing for jobs at Johns Hopkins, I pulled on that because I was going to be in charge of SAC at Johns Hopkins. So I said, look, here's an example of how I did some student athlete development programming. And that helped me get the role, and that, just snowballed from there. But so that stands out to me as just taking advantage of the opportunity. You don't know where it will lead, right? It may not help you find the next job, but I think it, at the end of the day, broadens your lens and perspective, whether it's within college athletics or even more broadly than that, which helps you do your day-to-day better.
Yeah, it helps a ton, just being open-minded that maybe this isn't exactly what I want to do, but sometimes, to your point, it creates a pathway you didn't see there. So let's talk a little bit about CSU right now. What's happening, exciting here on campus or coming soon?
Yeah, so a lot of great things. So, of course, we've just kicked off the fall semester. So it's great to have the students, the student athletes back on campus. There's so much energy. I've had a few lunches with folks who, are not on campus, and all of them have reflected on, man, there's so much energy around campus, right? And I think that's one of the things I love about being on a college campus. Is that there's just constant energy going on. So we've got our fall semester has kicked off. From an athletics perspective, our programs are doing really well. And we are, as a department, working on our Cleveland State athletic strategic plan. So this is a really great opportunity to start to look into the future, right? The next 3-5 years, and how does Cleveland State athletics continue to position ourselves for success for our student athletes, in the classroom and in competition and in the community.
Absolutely. We talk about a lot in our league, major cities. Cleveland obviously fits in that category. What makes it a major city? What do you recommend people do if they're visiting Cleveland?
Well, Cleveland's great, right? One of those sayings, it's a great city on a great lake. So there you go, a little soundbite.
Love that. Love it.
No, so it's a really wonderful city, right? It has all of the amenities, has everything that you would want for a big city, but it doesn't have quite as many headaches that you would see in that big city, right? I think the easiest one is traffic. We don't have quite nearly as bad traffic, right? But there's so many great restaurants, particularly around here, near and around campus. We're right downtown. And then Viking Public House is a great place to eat. It's right here on campus. So there's just a lot to do while you're here. And then from like a student athlete perspective, one of the things that we really try and engage with is being in and of Cleveland, right? We are Cleveland's university. We are Cleveland's Division I athletic program. And so there's a lot of great internship opportunities that come with that. There's a lot of great community engagement that comes with that, right? Our Cleveland Metropolitan School District has a campus or a school right here on our campus, and so we engage with them a lot. So it's a really unique opportunity to broaden the experience for our student athletes, but also our coaches and staff and community to be a part of the city and not just a campus community by ourselves.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you enjoy most about being part of the Horizon League?
Oh, what a good question. I would say first and foremost, I have really valued and appreciated the leadership of the Horizon League and the staff, you included, of the Horizon League. As I came into this position, back 6 years ago at Cleveland State, and then transitioned to being the athletic director, just knowing that the league wants the best for each of our campus members. And so having kind of a resource to call and to navigate and be flexible with some of the things that we're dealing with on a national level. I think first and foremost, that's what I've really appreciated. Commissioner Lash is a phenomenal leader in this space. And so being able to learn and observe from her has been really tremendous for me growing in my position.
That's awesome. Okay, but one final question for you. I don't know how much Golden Hour you've watched in the past, but we always end with like kind of a start, bench, cut, where we give you 3 options. You kind of got to put them in rank order.
Oh, man.
So we try to pick some like Cleveland ones for you, like Cleveland activities. So visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, day at the Great Lake, or an Arts District show. So you got to start one, bench one, cut one.
I think on a nice day, you have to start with the lake.
Okay.
You just can't beat it. If the midges are out, that might change my answer. But assuming it's not midge season, then I would definitely go with the lake. Let's see. Bench would have to be the arts.
Okay.
And depending upon the time, maybe would slip into the start.
Sure.
The Playhouse Square is great. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this. But it is the second largest theater district in the country, only behind Broadway in New York City. So we're super fortunate with our theater district, and so being able to go and experience things that I probably wouldn't have otherwise.
Sure.
I've really enjoyed. And then I would say cut the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, only because I'm forced to cut one.
Right.
But it is a very cool museum and experience. So that's not to say you shouldn't go.
All right, perfect. Love those recommendations. Once again, this has been an episode of The Golden Hour. I'm Rachel White here with
Kelsie, Gory, Harkey.
Thanks for joining us.